so glad that you're here with us today, whether you're live or watching the replay, and wherever you are. We just invite you to join in the discussion, pop your questions in the chat, and just be here with us. So today we have an incredible panel of experts that are going to be talking about empowerment for creating business success. So we know that there's so many factors to consider when creating success in your business. And so this discussion is going to focus on mindset and strategies and anything else that comes up around helping you create more success in your business. And you'll walk away with some tips that you can implement, which will help you to feel more empowered and move forward in your business with more ease. So we encourage you to go onto our website at some point after watching this, and Sophia might talk a little bit about this towards the end, because we have so many of these conversations and events that are helping to spread awareness and so many juicy topics. So we'll give you the information on that a little bit later. And now I'd just like to introduce our beautiful panelists. So we have Joanne Irwin, who works with ambitious women living in overwhelm or anxiety, who have big dreams and want to achieve success through work-life balance, but they're burned out and continually struggling to achieve their ultimate outcomes. She's the creator of Empower You and Finding You Time programs that teach women how to harness their manifesting power to master their life and live from a balanced, abundant, peaceful place, achieving their desires, goals, and dreams with more ease. And then we have Farah. Farah Ismail is an internationally recognized facilitator, coach, speaker, and founder of Interact Consulting. She partners with ambitious women, entrepreneurs, and leaders who find themselves frustrated and unfulfilled despite outward signs of success. And when they work with her, they reimagine their business, crafting a lucrative, purpose-driven enterprise that delivers more confidence, more connection, more revenue, and more meaning. Having rebuilt her own life and business from scratch after struggling through her own life-changing experiences, Farah knows exactly how to forge new life paths towards a meaningful life and offers her clients a proven blueprint for their own success. And then we have Susie Pruden, who's a legend. Susie is an internationally acclaimed speaker and seminar leader, New York Times bestselling author, fitness expert, mind-body pioneer, hypnotherapist, success and empowerment coach. She's a TV and radio host, creator of Inner Mind certification program. Susie's current specialty is publishing small books by experts, and she teaches her authors to use itty bitty books as a business builder, not just a business card. So she'll be talking a little bit more about that too. And then we have Allison Cotton. Allison is a 6-2 generator in human design who's here to master her own skills in life so she can teach what she has learned. Allison's passion is leading by example. She's a natural storyteller and a boots on the ground type of gal who's grounded and down to earth. And she's a multi-dimensional woo-woo woman with a big heart and a delightful blend of seriousness and humor, who's done and continues to do a lot of her own inner work. She gets great pleasure in empowering women and creating a sacred space for deconditioning and authenticity, as well as educating women so that they know how to trust their own inner guidance and have the courage to take active steps because they know they are worthy. And she is the host of our tribe, Human Design. And finally, I'm Lisa, and coaches and practitioners and leaders who've struggled to articulate their unique value and enroll the type or amounts of clients that they desire, work with me to identify the exact clients they're meant to serve so that they can authentically engage and enroll them. And I see my clients to validate their innate gifts so that they can connect to their unique value and purpose. And we create this overarching marketing message. And I channel information to help them better articulate their offers and their services. And I've taken hundreds of people through my proven process that also teaches them how to access their own inner guru so that they can show up as the light that they're here to be in the world. And I'm the host of Rise Up, Embody Your Infinite Light, and the co-host of Finding Me, Coming Home to Your Own Divinity Tribes. So let's dive in. Super excited for this panel discussion. So what I'd like to do is just go around the room and we all start from this place of finding that we need to become empowered as we're on this journey of going through this, the entrepreneurship journey. And so what I'd like to know is, what held you back at the very beginning, like when you discovered that you needed to shift into empowerment, so that you could create the forward momentum in your business? So what was that kind of like aha moment that made you go, I need to step up and become self-empowered? I'd love to hear from you. Susie, let's start with you.
As you asked that question, I was trying to figure out my answer, because although I've spent years not being empowered, I was empowered at the same time. I've been in business since 1965 and won at different businesses, even during the time when I was having the rug pulled out from me. I think when I look at my life and I look at the various aspects of it, so interesting, because it's a good question. I did the Oprah show in 1989. That's me with Oprah right there. The book that I'm holding is the book that was published by Hay House, Metafitness, Your Thoughts Taking Shape. So I have been in the woo-woo since the 80s. And after being on the Oprah show, 8 months later, I ended up homeless. That was an interesting experience. And I think that I had to, it was terrifying. And that's when I had to pull up all of my, whatever I could, literally, to survive. And so I didn't have the thought I have to be empowered, but I had the reality. If you don't empower yourself, you're toast. And so I think that was that's obviously a defining moment. And I knew it was a gift from God, because I knew that that experience would create the me that I am, able now to do what I'm doing, which is be the force literally under the wings of my authors, because I've got 50 years experience in all kinds of industries. I can give that experience to them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you talked about turning those lessons that we have. A lot of it is coming from fear of just that survival place where we have to look at something and say, this is actually a gift. This is a lesson that I need to learn. This is a gift. And that I think is a lot of probably what we're going to hear is a turning point for people to become empowered and take back their own, take back the reins of their own life and just say, this is for me. What am I going to do with it? So thanks for bringing that up, Susie. I appreciate that. And
you're welcome.
Your courage to share that. Thank you. Yeah, love it. Farah, let's hear from you.
Hi, everyone. And Susie, I think that was a brilliant response to that amazing question. And it makes me think as well, because when did that empowerment moment, when did that breakthrough moment come? And it's a point in life, and I have to look back and look at my life in this huge, 3D effect. And I remember that, I came from this very, very confident life. And I used to be, in one of my careers, I used to fly for an international airline, very, very unique for an Indian family to have 3 daughters flying for 3 different international airlines, having the exposure and the experience to live in across the world. I come back and I get married in India. And I remember that it was one morning, I had a very hard life. It was not a very happy experience. And I think it was about 13 years that I kept telling myself that someday I'm going to find a life that I deserve. Someday I'm going to actually move away from something that's not serving me. And that whole experience of being in that state of not feeling like I deserve that life, that feeling of that empowered to take that step. It's very interesting when I think about that now. But it was that morning when I woke up and I said, this is it. And And I was frightened to actually step out and start my life from scratch, start my business from scratch. But it was that moment when I decided that I thought, it was this belief that I can actually choose the life I want to create. And it's not someday, it's today. So I think it's that moment when you realize that you don't want to play small. You don't want to continue a life that you don't deserve. And I'm so glad I felt that, because I have moved from there. And that's where it has really helped me to create the business that I am in, and to live a life that I choose. So I think it's a very beautiful breakthrough moment, and it's difficult to pinpoint it, but it was that morning. Yeah. And it was 2006. I remember that. Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you, Farah. I love that you said that the choice, we have the choice. It's that moment that you realize, I don't want to be wherever it is anymore, and I have the choice. And it's not even, everybody talks about, oh, there's unlimited possibilities. Yes, but it's finding that moment when it comes to you, and you can be honest, ultimately honest with yourself, and say, this is not what I want. Because I think a lot of times we can cover up whatever's happening in our life or our business, and just, say, oh, it's okay, I can move through this, I can push through this, I can, and when really it's not okay. And we can't move to that next step, better, forward, momentum, expanded state, until we are honest with ourselves and we say, no, this is not what I want. This is not where I want to be. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you.
It's that reframing in your head, right? When you look at it as like a big loss, it's actually reframing it. It's like a metamorphosis. I'm going to disrupt myself. And I think it's about falling in love with disruption, starting something new.
Yeah. Falling in love with disruption. I love that, because
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Today I can think like that.
Although my life was totally disrupted as well, but I don't, and I do remember the moment when I said, thank you, God, for this experience. And it was as it was happening. And I thought, well, that's an interesting thought, because I meant it. Yeah. So I totally understand. It's like, okay, do I continue or do I change?
Yeah. Because we're the only ones that can make that choice.
Yeah.
To move forward. So thank you. Joe, I would love to hear from you.
Wow, what a great beginning. My goodness. So it's just brought up so many things for me, as far as where I was when I call it like awakening. It's an awakening to a degree, because it was actually before I started my business, and I was having my fourth child, and my husband walked. And it was like, this is do or die. And I wasn't going to lay down and die. I was like, I have to fight something inside me. Something force came in with and said, you have to do this, not for you, but for your children. And it was hard, but it was like, it had to happen. And there was moments where I just wanted to curl up and not get out of bed. And, it was really a challenging time. And throughout that, 4 children, single mum period, I had many, many challenges. As Susie said, we were homeless at one point, and it was just like there was always something that I needed to step up to and step into to survive. So I guess I was coming from a survival space of just being able to, and you know what, when I did that and I found the support of the people who did love me, who did want me to be okay and want me to succeed, everything just started showing up. Everything started showing up. A business that I could work from home around my children, the support of some of the best, entrepreneurs around the world, teaching me and guiding me. I was traveling the world with, 4 children. It was just incredible. So I guess we're always going to have these things put in front of us, but we need to step into that person that I remember I became when that thing happened, in my deepest, darkest despair, when that, experience happened for me, to actually step up and become more. And I wrote about this in a book that I was privileged to be a part of, a collaborative, and it was called The Gift in Challenges. So when you talk about, Farah was speaking about, you know, it's a gift, because without it, I don't think I would, there's no way I would be where I am today and empowering other women and doing what I'm doing and, you know, living the life that I'm living. So seeing it as a gift was when that, you know, really changed things for me. And yeah, I feel like, you know, it's not just one thing. It's a whole lot of things that, yeah, keep you moving, keep you going, and having faith, trust, and empowerment through other people that support you is really important for me. Yeah.
I love that you mentioned faith and trust, because I was going to bring that up. It's trusting that you're going to be caught, that you have the support no matter what you see in the moment, and just trusting that it's there for you and that you're going to be caught in these, you know, arms. Because if we don't have the faith and trust, it's really hard to move from that survival point of do or die into whatever's next. But that's what we're required. That's what this journey is about, is trusting and following the path and the next breadcrumb, which might look like, oh my God, this is not what I want it to look like. But it is the next breadcrumb that allows you to move forward into who you're here to be. So I love that you bring that up. Thank you for that share, Joe. Yeah, Allison.
It's incredible how multidimensional we are. And I don't think there was ever one moment. I think there's been hundreds of moments over time that I've gone, nah, not that way, I need to go this way. No, not that way, I need to go this way. Fuck this way, I've had enough, no more, I'm going this way. And it really is about embracing that struggle of, I don't want to do this anymore, and then looking at enjoying the challenge that's coming up. It's almost as if you are facing the darkness with courage. And from that, as we all know, from a butterfly, like when we're in the darknesses as a caterpillar inside a little thing, when we emerge, we've enormously transformed. Right? So when we come out of that darkness with our courage and our flag flying, like I am, you know, you're on that stallion and you're just forging ahead. When you come out of that darkness, you are no longer who you are. You are someone completely different. And I personally don't even recognize myself from 10 years ago, let alone 20 or 30. So there's not been one moment in my life that I've gone, yeah, that was the biggest moment, because all of them have been big in some way. So, and that's the multi-dimensional aspect of, you know, 10 years ago it was my marriage, you know, 5 years ago it was leaving a 9-to-5. There's always been something that has pivoted me on my path, because Spirit are sending me those messages going, oi, no, this way, oi, no, this way, come a little bit further, 2 degrees, come on, this way. And it's always like a sundial. We're just following the sun. We're following that light within us.
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, it's being open to following that guidance. And wherever you are in your path, whatever it looks like, there is guidance. We are being guided.
And trust and faith, like you said, is that pivotal must-have in order for that embracing to happen.
Yeah,
because
and
you don't trust that it's going to work out just fine, and that the faith of why you're being asked or called to move in a different trajectory, there's a reason. There's something that you need to learn from it. There's something you need to grow from it, and you need to embrace that. And if you don't, then you stay stuck.
You stay stuck. Yeah. Yes, Susie.
I wanted to piggyback on what was just said, both by Allison and Joe about faith and trust and what you commented on, Lisa. It's like, I was having dinner with Gary Zukav one time at a conference where we were both speaking. And I was talking about my experience when I was between homes. And he said, how did you do that? And without thinking, I said, I just leaned back into the arms of God. And when we lean back into the arms of God and we have no clue what the actual next step is going to be, it's like the movie Raiders of the Ark with Harrison Ford, when he stepped out onto the walkway, the thing between one cliff and the other cliff, and he didn't see it, but he trusted. He stepped out and there was solid something beneath him, so he didn't die. Mm-hmm. And that's it. We step out, trusting that whatever we need in that moment is going to be there. And sometimes it's really scary.
Most of the time. Most of the time it's really scary. And that's the thing is it's not all, like, Allison, I love that you bring up facing the darkness with courage, because as much as we'd like to, as much as I talk about being in joy and that being your true north, and as much as people talk about happiness and positivity and all that, there's light and dark in the world, and it takes one to have the other, and we're always in balance of the light and the dark, of the good and the bad, or whatever you might want to call it. It's not good and bad, it's not right and wrong, it is what it is. And we need that the ability to go inward into what we call the darkness, into the inner being that we are, to see the light. Yep. And until you can go in to that dark area and become a little more comfortable with it. I mean, no, it's not fun. It could be really messy, but it doesn't have to be bad or ugly or hard or any of that. It does just take courage. So I'd love to know the void. Yeah, Joe, I'd love to know more about that, because I think this is something really important for people to hear right now, especially as we're in Scorpio season and we're going into the darkness right now. So let's talk about that. Maybe you can give the listeners some tips about what it takes to go into the darkness, and maybe a tip on how to do that, or how to do that with courage, or anything that you can offer there. Joe, why don't we start with you?
Sure. Yeah. So going into the darkness, man, first of all, it does take courage. It takes huge courage, because we are, as humans, so good at avoiding what we need to see. So we skirt around, we make ourselves busy, we get distracted by things that really don't serve us. We think, that we need to be doing these things, and often it's just an avoidance mechanism that we run, a program that we run inside of us that stops us from taking the time to actually sit in the void, to sit in the dark, to really see. And I mean, I've worked extensively on this over the years, 30 years of, just sitting in it. And there's still more. Like it's not like it's going to be, finished. And particularly when there's trauma involved, and, there's lots of wounds, that you need to look at and feel and sit with. But I feel like it can be much more difficult on your own. So it is I feel very important to, have someone, if you have had trauma or, deep wounding, to have someone to, help guide you, support you through the process. And I've had a lot of support over the years in this area, and different therapies and things like that. So exploring firstly, but just to be simple, stop and feel what's going on inside of you, inside your body. As Alison said, it's your guidance system. It's your best indicator for you to take that time and just be. So I'm very routine with my morning routine meditation, visualization, just sitting and looking. And it's a very powerful thing when you can be with it and just from a, you know, an outside perspective, not to relive any of it, but to look and explore, like you're going in with a little what do you call those things, glass things, microscope, whatever, magnifying glass, that's the one, magnifying glass, and just going, what's going on for me? And continually asking, you know, what is going on for me to be in this situation of avoidance, you know, doing all this stuff, making ourselves busy. That's an indicator for a start, to just enable yourself to stop, look, and sit with it. And often by sitting with it, sitting deep down with it, and I find the process of being in the belly a very powerful one, because that's where your power is, that's where your creation is. And really viewing it from an outside perspective, you know, and understanding your patterns, understanding, you know, why you do the things you do is a very good first step, because as an observer, you can then be able to change it, right? You can, oh, okay, well, I need some work on this. And whether you get someone to help support you with that, or you find your own process, it's, you know, your business is a reflection of you, right? So to have an empowered business, you need to have processes and practices and things to empower you first, so that can transfer into your business and bring it into the world. You know, I don't start my day without at least 2 hours of my practice. Yeah, so it's so important.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up, because we are our business. Without us, without the person behind it, the energy behind it, the business has no, you know, you're the energy that is
no foundation. Yeah. And I think in that, saying that, grounding is so important. That's a part of the grounding process, embodying yourself into you before you can embody yourself into your business. It is your business is your isness, as I say.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love that you talked about becoming the observer and what you looking at, becoming aware of what you're avoiding, because I talk about becoming aware of what you're resisting, which is very similar. It's what is that thing that you're skirting around? You know, people talk about shiny objects. Why are you looking at the shiny objects? Why are you looking at those things and not at what actually needs to be addressed? So thank you for that. And Farah, I'd love to hear from you on this too.
I love what we are just talking about, because it's a journey I've done within myself. And I remember a mentor when I was you know, working at helping other women to reimagine their lives and their business, and I was doing too much. And of course, I was trying to handle a lot of things, and I was tuned into my why and my purpose to inspire others to be courageous as well and to see possibilities. But this mentor took me to the side and she said that I see you working really hard, but I don't see you enjoying yourself. And then she said something that unless you work at changing your world, you're never going to be able to change anybody else's world. And that hit home for me. And I guess that is when I started looking at what are some of the armors I was wearing. I was like this superwoman I was a single mother. I went through a series of life-changing experiences. I lost a child to leukemia, and then I left this marriage, and then I started my business and everything from scratch. And I was trying to be this superwoman and doing things that I loved, and of course helping myself. But I think there were a lot of armors that I was wearing. And so I think that whole process of getting vulnerable and believing that I'm not alone. And I really want to say that one of the things that really helped me was focusing. We all have roller coasters. We all have our ups and downs, and it's scary. But if I'm able to actually look into the future, because if I look ahead, that's where I really allowed myself to reimagine what I could create for myself. So one thing I would say is, it's so easy to look back and stay in that space. but empowerment happens when you look at the future that you can create. So for me, a really interesting thing is your perspective. It's the way with which you look at the world, and looking ahead has really helped me to change the trajectory of my life, and believing that I'm not alone in this. So I shifted that narrative, and I think that's what really helps people in business to believe that you don't have to do this thing called life alone, and you can actually get the support from your community. So that's something that really, really helped me, which is looking around me at the pillars of support that I have. And in fact, even if we take 30 seconds to just close our eyes now, just to think about what do we have around us, we'll be amazed at the kind of support we have. So for me, those were the two big things that really helped me to get out into from the dark to the light. Yeah. So
yeah, no, thank you. I think that's great. I love that you were talking about doing too much, because I know a lot of you are experts in that area of helping people not do too much. But before we continue, I just want to invite people who are watching to please post in the comments if you have questions, if you'd like any of these experts to address anything, if you have questions specifically about empowerment for business success, let us know so we can make sure to get your questions answered. Yeah, but just I think one of the things that I heard you talking about when this doing too much comes from a fear of not succeeding, right? It comes from this fear of I'm not going to succeed unless I push. And when we're able to let go of that control, when we realize that pushing energy is not serving us, and we're able to let go of control and find a more playful, a more graceful, a more flowing, easy way that works with our energy, that's, I think, when things open up. And yeah, it really takes being vulnerable. It takes going into the darkness to know yourself. It takes understanding that you're not alone and that you're not in control, really. You're not in control. And so I love all of that you brought up, Farah. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. Susie.
There's so much going on right now in this conversation, and I'm thinking of overcoming obstacles. And I think I did a talk one time on overcoming obstacles. And I want to talk about the darkness, because there is darkness, but we're not in control. So just, travel through, basically. It's like Space Mountain at Disney World. It's dark and you're flying through the air in a roller coaster. You have no control whatsoever. And if you let go, you have the best ride of your life. And there's no control. I was in Bali a number of years ago, and I rented a house from a friend of mine, and there was a river beneath the gorge with rapids and a waterfall, and we were tubing. And so I'm in the tube, and I go down a couple of times, and I go down a couple of times. And one time, my tube turned around, and I was backwards. And I had no control, and I was terrified until I said, well, you have no control anyway. This tube is going to go wherever it's going to go regardless. So why don't you let go and enjoy the ride, which is what I did. But as I'm listening, I'm hearing, so what happens when you get to something that's going to stop you, an obstacle? When I was a child, my mother was a rock climber, cliff climber. Not the wood boards, but actual cliffs, mountains, 300 feet up. And so I'm a child, and she took me with her, and she wanted me to climb the cliff. And I'm little. I'm like 6 or 7 years old, and I'm roped in, and we didn't have helmets, and we didn't have all the stuff that they've got now. My mother was a world-class climber. Many climbs are named after her because she was the first one up a particular cliff. So we're going up a particular cliff. And when you're cliff climbing, I don't know if it's interesting, because you might have a handhold that's as big as this pen's, the thing it snaps on you. I mean, literally, you're on the tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes. You're climbing up this cliff, and it works. It's the greatest meditation anywhere. You can't be anywhere else. So as you're climbing the cliff, and I was a little kid, and I couldn't reach something because I was a little kid, I'd say, boost, mommy, and I had a lift. So I'd say, boost, mommy, and she'd give me a little boost, and I'd reach it, and then boost, mommy, and she'd give me another little bit boost, and I'd get up there. And there was a problem at the top. And for her, it was a serious problem because there was an overhang, a cliff that came out over, and you had to go up and around and up. So it's not just straight up. And she had to figure out how to get her little kid up and around and over the top. While she's trying to figure out the obstacle, I see a way through. There was a little passageway where the overhang was literally not attached. It was attached over this side, it was attached here, but not in this little crevice here. And I was a little kid. So I climbed up the crevice and I went to the top, no obstacle. Of course, what happened with my mother was interesting. She turned and I was gone, right? We're on a cliff. We're like 300 feet in the air. Yes, exactly. Allison, thank you. It's like, oh my God, where did my daughter go? And then I looked over the top of the cliff, over the overhang. Mommy, I'm up here. But the lesson from that particular situation was, it's when you don't see the obstacle, you get through. So when obstacles occur to me now, it's like, okay, there's a cliff here. There's an overhang. Where's the little crevice through? So if you're always looking for the little crevice through, you'll find the little crevice through. And if you have faith and you trust and you let go and you know that this is an is experience, you get through, and it's magical.
I love that. It's like talking about what Farah brought up as perspective, right? Your perspective on things. And so not just looking at the obstacle, which is what we're programmed to look at, right? We're programmed to look at what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong.
Right.
And so looking at what are the other ways to look at this? What are the perspectives? Yeah.
Where can you go through? It's not about the obstacle. It's about, okay, so where are the crevices? You know, it's like going up, going under, going around, and sometimes it's just smashing through.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Susie. That's great. I love it. It's Allison.
I don't even know if I can add any more to that. To be completely honest, that was quite incredible. And I, as a mother, I would have been like, where the fuck is my child? I would have been freaking out. And I tell you what, I don't think I would have had her tenacity to hold on. I probably would have fallen.
She was on a cliff.
I know.
Your life going, oh my God, here's my kid.
Yeah, I know, but it was that was an incredible story, and that's exactly what we do. We just push through. We just find the gap, find the possibility, find the hole, whatever it is, and go through. You know, and to me, it's like the universe is going to slap you in the face if you don't listen. You know, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter, it's going to be that way. If you don't go to the spiritual gym, if you don't listen, and however you listen, whether that's meditation, walking, chilling out, writing down things, having conversations, doesn't matter how you do it, but it's if you do not pay attention, if you do not listen to those whispers that come from within, you will be forced to pay attention. Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing that I can kind of mention about the void. It's like, you have to go. You just have to.
Part of the journey.
Part of it. And I mean, I talk about this all the time with my clients. It's like, find that edge. Find what frightens you, because it's the only way that things are going to change. That's exactly right, Susie. It turns into a goddamn yell. And I know what that yell feels like. Hello, left hip who hit a bus. I know exactly how that feels. I was not listening to those whispers. My dad used to tell me this, you know, you're 17, 18, you're like, whatever, Dad, I'm just going to go party and I'm going to drink and I'm going to do this and yeah. And then suddenly one day you wake up and you've got this sore throat, you can't open your eyes and you're like, oh, I have to lay in bed today, because the universe is saying stop. Listen to what the void is telling you to where next, what's next.
So powerful.
Finding that piece of light in that gap, as Susie said.
Yeah, super powerful. And we have Katerina here that says, I'm flying through the darkness with my business, learning to surrender. Thank you. This is what I needed to hear. So yeah, so this is a great conversation. Lots of really good, juicy nuggets in here. Susie, I know you have a question.
No, I can't even remember it now, so it's fine.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know, we've got about maybe 15 plus minutes to go. And so what I'd love to do is just hear from each of you your most powerful tip that you can provide the listeners about becoming empowered in business to create success that we haven't already covered. I know we've covered a lot. And then, you know, you can share what you have going on right now. So a tip and then a share on how people can reach you, what you have to offer, if you have a gift or something coming up. So Susie, go ahead and start.
The way I run my life and the way I run my businesses, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, and so I'm going to be, it's so funny, I'm 79, and I absolutely adore my business. And a friend of mine said, so Susie, why don't you retire? I thought, well, what would I do? Because it's like moments like this where I'm surrounded, in essence, with 5 other women who are all on the same but different path. And so when it comes to my business, I'm a visionary. I've said yes, and then I figure it out. I started my current company 7 years ago on Christmas Day, actually. My sister and I had this idea. We've both written books for 30 years and published books, and by big publishing, I'm a New York Times bestseller. And we started a publishing company. We said yes, and we figured it out. And it's a wonderful company, but I'll tell you about that in a sec. I just want you all who are here to, as in the listeners and the viewers, to realize that yes is the most powerful word you can say, because yes will allow the universe to support you in any way you want. If you don't say yes, the universe can't say yes. That's a repeatable and a writer-downer. If you don't say yes, the universe can't say yes. And the universe wants you to succeed. I'm going to repeat that again. The universe wants you to succeed. So whatever it is, say yes. Now, have I failed at things? Absolutely. But I've succeeded more often. And people think, you're doing what? I'm going to do such and such. You're doing what? And I do it. And then they say, how did you do it? I said, I did it. I said, yes, I figured it out. So right now, to tell you what I'm doing, I have a publishing company. It's called Itty Bitty Publishing. We publish small books that make a big difference. And every single book is focused on what you do in your business. So this gentleman, this is important. And you can talk to me about it because we don't have time now. This is an itty bitty book. You can see it's itty bitty. This gentleman grew his company from $100,000 to $750,000 a year using this book as his business builder. I have tons of stories of people using their book as a business builder, not just a business card. I have a free gift. If you're a WPN member, I'm doing a book with WPN, 15 authors, 15 chapters. It's a compilation book. I'll put the information in the chat. You have to be a WPN member. If you're not a WPN member, join WPN. I would say that regardless. And I have a free gift. Just check it out and talk to me. I have a free gift. It's I'm also a hypnotherapist. 4 hypnosis processes to make more money. 4 hypnosis processes to have a bestseller. I'll put it in the chat, and I hope to talk to you, hear from you. And this has been a fun experience.
Awesome. Thank you, Susie. Thanks so
Thank
much. Jill, let's hear from you.
Yeah, wow, Susie, power. I love it.
This is my middle name.
I love the yes. I do the same. It's like, just say yes. Like, I'm always saying, just say yes and work it out later, because we can, if we don't, we'll never grow or move forward. And one thing I want to say is, like, you know, there is no failure. There is no failure. So whether it works out or not, it doesn't matter. It's all learnings. Unless you go there, you won't learn. And through many of my failures, I've learned so much. And it's kept me growing, evolving, and wanting to know more. So learning is a big part of your personal growth. And, you know, going to the edge, I love going to the edge and keep going. Right. It is scary. It is. Yeah. But we'll just have that faith and that belief. But if you have to be passionate, as Susie said, passionate about what you're doing. Right. If it's not fulfilling you, there's no point. It doesn't mean you can't, you know, navigate it to another path or use it to transfer it into something that's more empowering, because again, it's a learning. So, you know, passion has to be at the forefront of what you're doing in your business, and loving what you're doing. And if not, just go back to the drawing board and work out how you can implement what you know into something that you're really, really passionate about. So that's my 2 cents. I would love to offer a gift to the viewers today of a free planning, a planner which I created for my clients. And it covers pretty much everything that I've talked about as far as you in your business, your isness, so that you can start your day in a very powerful way and start planning so that you can fit what you need to fit into that day without overwhelming yourself. But it also implements lots of different practices as well. And with that, I'm offering a free planning session. So only get the planner if you're up for the free planning session, because from my experience and my learning, people have got the planner and never put it into action. Please, you know, get it, and I will teach you how to use it in a very powerful and empowering way. So yeah, reach out if you'd like that, or I'll pop the link into the chat after the session. So
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. That's awesome. Farah, what you got?
I'm listening to all these stories, and I'm very visual. So I want to invite you to think about a swan, because Lisa, you spoke about being graceful through all our tough moments. So imagine a swan that is walking on land. It's pretty awkward, and you're going to watch it, and what the swan does is it doesn't beat itself up because it's so awkward on land. All it does is find its way to water. And that's when you feel like you're really in a space where you can be yourself, be authentically you, and do the work that you are passionate about. And I find that many of us find ourselves on a path that is stale. You know, we're working for something where we're not fulfilled, or we're living a life, and like I did, when I was feeling like I really was not empowered to make a change in my life. So that path, we can actually change that. And for me, it's not about someday, it's about today. You know, I can do it today. I can make that one step. And I remember telling somebody that I'm going to do this 100%, I'll make a big change in my life. And he said, just make 1% change every day. And I said, oh my God, that's what's going to shift everything. It's that 2 shift of taking one action. So I would say that it's really about feeling very comfortable with being uncomfortable, and do it anyway. I call myself fearless Farah until I realize that I'm not fearless. I fear less. And of course, allow that fear to sit in the back seat and take that action, right? So I would say no more excuses. We have a lot of support that we have around us. So I would like to share that one of the things that I live by is be brave enough to use your voice, bold enough to listen to your heart, and strong enough to live the life you imagined. So I would like to offer this beautiful community a couple of things. One is I wrote this book in like an itsy-bitsy book, okay? It's not something very small, but it's Dare to Be You, How to Be Unstoppable. It's 5 ways in which I live my life and I live my business. So I'd love to offer that. And if anybody wants to have a conversation with me, which is no more excuses, breakthrough conversation, please feel free to connect with me, and I'll share the link on the chat. So it's been an honor to listen to the amazing women. I'm so inspired. Thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, sounds great. And I'm going to repeat all the wisdom that you all share after Allison's done, so that everybody can kind of have a summary of what we've been sharing, because these tips are amazing. These all of them, but the last couple ones that that I'll just share a summary. But Allison, go ahead.
My biggest tip that I can offer for everybody is to maintain and manage your energy, first and foremost. And your human design chart offers that blueprint that allows you to see your energy for what it is. And when you start to understand from a tangible, physical, human level, that's when you can surrender the process of I'm human, I have faults, I'm not enough, You can then embrace the energy of what's coming from above. Because when you have a handle on this little physical vessel of ours, you can then tap into the infinite. That's my tip. and honestly, through wisdom comes humility. Yeah, and I have a very special dog that tells us that. And his name is 𝗙𝗵𝗵, and it is because I am what I am because of who we are all. Right? It is that oneness. We all come from the same God. We all came from the same piece of light. There ain't no separation. We just separate ourselves. So what I would like to offer as a free gift today is a free human design 30-minute, 45-minute reading that allows you to see your energetic blueprint and find what's blocking you, what's stopping you from going into the void, what's stopping you from fearlessly or courageously going into the darkness, and see what your next step is. See what the light behind the darkness is showing you. And I will put the link in the comments for that too.
Beautiful. Thank you, all of you. I love this. So I'm just going to summarize here what the last few tips were. Say yes and then figure it out. This allows the universe to support you. There's no failure, whether it works or not. It's all learning and growing and evolving. Going to the edge and keep going. Use a visual like the swan, who may feel awkward walking on land, but always finds its way to the water because that's their authentic self. And think of this as you're feeling awkward growing your business, trying to become empowered, working through the awkward stages of not feeling like you're where you want to be, right? And have the choice to change your path today. Instead of a huge shift, it only takes 1% every day. And fear less. Maintain and manage your energy and tap into your infinite oneness. Tap into the energy blueprint that is yours, that connects you into your source, your flow, right, Allison? The flow of how you're here to be. I love all of these. It's been so great. I think this is so much more than yes, Susie, go ahead.
I'm so excited. I want to know, the viewers can do this with all of you. Can we as speakers take advantage of it too? Because I want to experience all of your work. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. I want this and I want this. I want all of your work. Can we access your work too? Cool. All right, I'm ready.
I'm going to say yes.
And figure it out. Oh, that's cool.
Figure it out. Figure it out.
And
Thank
I
you.
don't know if there's any other questions from the audience. Anything else, Sophia? Nothing else. This has been such a great conversation. Thank you all so much for being here and sharing your wisdom. Lots and lots of really great, amazing nuggets. Yeah, just so good. And for the listeners, we go into different levels and depths of these conversations in so many of the different conversations that count discussions. So check those out too, because it's kind of just like they're just like a spider web. They all lead into
They
each
all
other.
lead to the one path.
I know, yeah, it's been amazing. And I just want to thank all of you again for being here. And Sophia, did you want to talk about anything? Okay.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Lisa, for facilitating.
Yes,
another
thank you,
wonderful
Lisa.
panel
Thank you.
discussion. It was really amazing, and I love it. And I just want to honour everyone for being here. And it's really, wonderful. We're talking about all different ways of empowering ourselves, and it's like so many tips, which is great. And coming up next week in 6 days' time, we have another part of moving into business is dismantling money blocks and thriving. So that's coming up for our own, dismantling our own money blocks, and thereby empowering our business. So that's all coming up. And for anyone who is watching us, thank you for watching us. Thank you to Angel and Wilma for putting everyone's links in the comments, and for all our audience, do click on those links, connect with these wonderful women who have taken time out to share their wisdom and passion. And come and join us. Come and join Alison's tribe. Which one is it? Human Design. Aligned by Design, Human Design tribe. Lisa's tribe, which is about rising up and embodying our infinite light. And I'll turn off my alarm. And just for $1, come and join us. Try us out for 3 weeks. After that, it's just 15 Australian dollars a month. And I'm just going to mute Alison. There you go. There's a bit of feedback, Alison. That was all. Maybe there's feedback with me. Thank you. Thank you ever so much again. Really, really thank you. And I've been loved listening. It's been a wonder.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.